Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome to everyone who has been practicing with me for some time now, and welcome to anyone who is maybe finding this video for the first time. There are lots of other videos up on the site, and we've been doing this for quite a while now. So welcome, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. I'm gonna step back to my mat, we'll get started. I do have my chair. I'll be offering a few options. We're gonna be just kind of focusing today on some flowing and some of the warrior positions. I feel like we haven't done warrior stuff in a while, so we'll work on a little bit of heat building and strength with some of the warrior postures. So without further ado, let's get started. So I think for today we'll start seated as always, even though we will be coming into some of our warrior stances. So I do have my chair here. If you are starting seated in your chair or practicing throughout the whole practice in your chair, go ahead and get comfortable. Feet planted firmly on the ground. All of us can root down through the sit bones. If you're on the mat with me, any sort of comfortable cross-legged position, they can be open a little more loosely and wider, or pulled in a little tighter, or even into a half lotus or lotus, which is when you bring one or both feet up into the hip creases. That can be quite intense. We might not be warm enough for that, but if you are, go for it. Another option is blocks. I don't cue with too many props, just because I'm not sure what everyone has at home, of course. But if you do have any props you like to practice with, by all means, grab them. For some of us in the chair, it's nice to have a block for our feet so that our feet just aren't kind of dangling in midair, so that we can really ground down through all sort of points of contact, the soles of the feet, sitting through the sit bones, and maybe even using the back of the chair as a bit of sensory feedback as well. So if you have a block, go for it. If not, no big deal. We'll all settle into our comfortable positions here. Maybe just rock back and forth a little bit, really settle in. Take a few breaths and let it out, either out through the mouth or out through the nose. And we also want to just find a place for our hands to rest comfortably. That can be folded in our lap or hands on our knees, and the palms can be turned down or up. Really any position that allows you to sort of soften and find your breath and kind of relax into these next few minutes with me here, and try to put aside all of the thoughts of yesterday, thoughts of tomorrow, and just try to focus on what's happening on your mat or your chair and in your bodies here and now for the next few minutes. I say few minutes, I'm not sure how long the practice is going to be. Like I said, we will flow through some of our warrior postures and build up a little bit of heat and stretch it out a little bit along the way, and then make our way into our Shavasana. That's the plan. So if you're coming along for the ride, settle in here. Eyes can remain open or closed for this opening portion. And again, just taking a couple of breaths, let it go through the mouth or the nose, whatever kind of feels best, whatever lets you really expel all the breath the deepest. And then same thing, inhale and see if we can inhale the breath the deepest. Try to inhale through belly, ribs expand, and chest, so everything kind of opens in all directions on the inhale like a balloon. And then let it go. Press all that old air out. Make room for new air. Staying here, finding a few more deep breaths, and if setting an intention is part of your practice, use the time now to create an intention or set a bit of a motto or a mantra, if you like, something that we can repeat to ourselves over and over again with our breath as another tool to come back from wandering thoughts and being off of the mat. So the breath is one, other sensations in the body is another, and having a little mantra or motto is yet another. It can be simple, I am here. It can be a little longer and more in depth depending on what you need and what you're feeling. Take a couple more breaths here, and then we'll bring a bit of movement to the body. All right, if the eyes are closed, think about blinking them open, maybe looking around the room. And then when we're ready, let's inhale. We can release the hands from our laps, sweep them up overhead. Take a big inhale here. Reach tall, find length down the sides of the body. And then exhale, nice and slow, kind of pushing the arms through molasses. Exhale it all out. Inhale. Reach, 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 reach. Even these shoulders might be creeping up. The fingers are reaching up. And then exhale, soften everything down. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Roll the shoulders a couple of times here, forwards and backwards. Take another inhale. We'll sweep the arms up. This time let the left arm fall down to the ground. Reach up with the right arm. So reaching up all the way through this right side body. As we reach up, then we'll tip over, find a side bend. Don't let this right hip come up. Really ground down through the chair or the floor. And then don't let the shoulder collapse. Really think about opening up here. So we're finding a big stretch down the side body here. Stay for a breath. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, reach up, find length, 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 length. And then let's let that right hand, down to the ground. Reach up through the left, reach, reach, reach. Stay grounded through that left side. And then find a side bend to the left. Stay open through the shoulder. Think about rolling the top shoulders back. Inhale here. Exhale, stay in the stretch. And then inhale back through center. Let's flow with the breath a couple of times in these side bends. Inhale as we reach up, exhale to find our side bend. Inhale, reach up. This time find a twist or stick with the side bend. If we're twisting, we root down through the sit bones, twist through belly, chest, and shoulders. Maybe using the hands to just guide the twist a little deeper, but without yanking ourselves. We're still warming up. We're just finding movement through the spine here. Inhale and exhale. And then inhale back through center. Twist or side bend over to the other side. Rooting down through sit bones. Using chest, belly, and ribs to really find a deeper twist. And using a little bit of resistance in the hands to deepen the twist. But we're not yanking ourselves around. Inhale and exhale. On the inhale, come back through center. Let's find a couple of twists, or if you're sticking with the side bend, keep flowing with your breath. And then inhale through center, exhale, hands down to our side. Awesome. Let's roll over to all fours and we're going to move through cat-cow. I'll just demonstrate a few options in the chair. In a minute, if we're on the mat, we'll flip ourselves over to find a tabletop, our all fours position. We're going to stack wrists under shoulders, spread the fingers really wide and really press into the mat here. Really feel the shoulder blades splay. See if we can press the tops of the feet into the mat and engage through that belly. So let's find a nice strong base to begin with. Stack the knees under the hips as well. This is our nice strong tabletop. From here we can drop the belly, pull the heart space through as we tilt tailbone up. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, round. So here's where we really want to press the mat away, splay the shoulder blades, and see if we can get into that deeper low back. And then inhale, drop the belly. Keep going with your cat-cow on the floor, seated in the chair. We stay firmly rooted into the seat. Hands can come to knees to use as leverage to help pull the heart space through and up, so we're not crunching into our low back, but we're opening up through front side body. And then you can even use the lap and knees and press as we round through the back side body for our seated cat-cow version. So we're finding a big opening through heart center. Inhale. And then exhale, round. Push the mat away, push the knees away, round through that spine. Option whether you're on the floor or in the chair to draw circles. You might want to sort of move laterally a little bit in your cat-cow on all fours. You may want to, even if you're on all fours, sort of sit back in a child's pose and come forward. So any sort of big movements, I'll join you in a minute. And then when you're ready, if you're in the chair or on the floor, we've been going in circles in one direction, maybe switching directions. So you might be doing barrel rolls, you might be sort of moving through the hips, warming up hips and shoulders a little bit. Lots of options. Or you might be still in your nice simple cat-cow. This is perfect as well. All right. Wherever we are, let's do one more round of breath. Big inhale and exhale. Good, let's sit back, find our child's pose. If you're in the chair, just melting over the lap. Knees can be close together or a little further apart to make room for the belly and heart space. Same on the floor, knees can be close together, or you can open the knees up a little wider and make room for belly and heart center to melt down. Breathe into the backside body, stay for a breath. On the next inhale, lift the forehead, walk the hands all the way over to the right, keeping the hips grounded whether you're in the chair or on the floor. So stay nice and grounded, and then see if we can bring that left hand, sweep it over and reach for the right arm and hand, and then lower down. So we're in a big side stretch again. If you're in the chair, of course, just walking over to the right, draping down over the right leg. Both hands reaching for the ankle, reaching for the floor. It might not make it. All right, let's lift the forehead on the inhale, walk ourselves through center, and then all the way over to the left. Stay grounded through the right hips. Bring the right hand, sweep it, see if we can stack it on top of the left, and then melt down. Big side stretch. Right side body. We'll inhale, come back through center. Good. From here, let's pull ourselves back to tabletop, our nice strong tabletop. Belly is engaged, and we can make our way up to standing either by just stepping through and making our way up to standing, or maybe if we're feeling ready for it, we can curl the toes under, lift our hips up to find a downward dog, and you might be staying in your chair. That's fine too. Or you may just be stepping out of the chair and using the chair as support. All of these are great options. If you're in your downward dog, stay for a breath. Knees can be nice and bent. The belly can be reaching for the thighs. We're going to press them out away. Stay here for another couple breaths. I'm just going to demonstrate a couple of downward dog options in the chair. You might stay in a child's pose, forward fold, like we were, or depending on what type of chair you have, position yourself around your chair as needed, and you can use the chair here to as support. Hands can be on the chair or the seat of the chair. Step back and then melt the chest through the arms, so you're getting that same long line of energetic stretch from the fingers all the way down the backside body, and maybe even down the back of the legs, just like if we were in our downward dog. So we're pressing that heart space through. So that's a nice option for a downward dog, using the chair as a prop. Otherwise, staying in your child's pose is a great option. Okay, I'm already standing. If you are in your downward dog, still make your way up to standing. And we'll come to some standing stretches here at the top of the mat. I'll just face forward so that I'm facing the camera. Let's find our mountain pose, or back to our nice comfortable seated pose, really rooting down through the sit bones, feet firmly planted on the block or floor. Feet will be about, hip distance here. Send energy up through the legs, really engage through the core here, and we're going to soften through the knees so that we can start to stack the ankles, knees, and hips. So we want to sort of soften the knees, pull the belly in. We see the hips start to stack over the ankles, and then we'll roll the shoulders as well, stack those over the hips. So our mountain pose is a nice, tall, stacked, stable mountain. That's why they call it that. All right, let's find a couple of breaths here. All right, let's do it. Let's find a couple stretches. Just like when we were seated, let's inhale, reach up, We'll grab onto our right wrist with our left hand, reach up and over. So we're finding that side stretch again. Make sure we're rolling that top shoulder open. Make sure we're still nice and grounded through that right sit bone or right foot. So we're really thinking about lifting up and over and opening the space down this right side body. All right. One more inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, come back up through center. This time switch the grip, so now you'll reach around the left wrist with the right arm. Inhale to reach up, exhale over. Same thing, roll the top shoulder back, press down through the left foot or sit bone. You can even scooch the hips out a little bit to the side. Just want to, again, feel that nice big side body stretch. All right, let's come up through center. Inhale. Let's exhale and swan dive all the way down. So we're going to forward fold, hinging at the hips. And we're going to come down as far as our bodies let us. So if you have a block, you may stack one or two so that the floor comes up to you. I'll turn sideways and you can see that now I can reach the floor, which is the block. This is the beauty of the props. It offers assistance, and it doesn't necessarily make things less challenging. It just helps you get into the pose in a more safe and deep way, which maybe you wouldn't be able to do, and feel sensation differently in the body. All right, so we're in our forward fold here. Of course, if you're in the chair, you're just gonna sweep the arms up and then forward fold over the lap. Notice how when I'm standing as well, my belly is draped on my thighs, so it's really not that much different from that seated posture. From here, we're gonna inhale and come up halfway. So we're going to inhale, find a flat back. Now, the hands might drag up the shins. They might rest on the shins or maybe on the tops of thighs here. Roll the shoulder blades together. So we're creating a nice long line of energy all the way out through the tailbone. This is our inhale. And then exhale, melt down again. Hands find the floor or the block. This time, let's come all the way up. So really think about pressing through the feet and pressing ourselves up to standing. Sweep the arms up. Exhale, find our mountain pose. Good, we're gonna go through that a couple more times. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, we'll swan dive all the way down to the block or floor, resting belly on thighs. Inhale, come to that halfway lift. Find the strength in the belly to create that flat back. And then exhale, fold forward again. Inhale, really think about pressing through the feet, so pressing yourselves up to standing. Sweep the arms up. Exhale, mountain pose. One more time at your own pace. Pressing all the way up to standing. And then finding mountain pose. Okay, awesome. Let's flow through a few rounds of our warrior series. So I'm just going to demonstrate the chair options first really quickly, and then I'm going to flow through it mostly standing on the mat. So from the chair, for warrior one, we're going to turn to face one side of the chair. So I've turned to the right here, and then I'm going to step my left foot back, maybe on a little bit of an angle, depending on what type of chair you have, so that we can get our back leg nice and straight. Toes are pointing in on about 45 degrees, but the hips are facing forward, front foot planted, and you can see that my front leg, my right leg, is being supported by the chair. And then we'll move through some arm variations with warrior one. Warrior two is very similar, except now we're going to open the hips up, adjust any way that's needed, again, depending on what type of chair you have. And now our hips, instead of facing this way, are going to turn and face this way, so towards the camera potentially. Back foot is still nice and long, front leg is supported, front foot grounded. We have a nice bend in our knee. And now the toes, instead of pointing in, they're pointing straight forward. And we'll play with some warrior one arms here. We'll play with some reverse warriors and some side angles. And then we'll even play with warrior three, but we'll get there after, and I'll demonstrate that again in the chair. And then of course we'll do this all on the other side as well. So I'm going to come up and join you standing, whether you're in the chair or practicing on the mat. Let's find a couple breaths in our mountain pose. These warrior postures are full body, full energy postures. So we really want to dig deep here, knowing we have 3 or 4 of these coming up. To begin with, you can flow through a little bit of breath work. Inhale, exhale, forward fold, go all the way down. Oh, I'm too close to my wall there. Come up halfway on the inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way back up. Exhale, hands down by our side. Now we're going to step into our warrior one. So to begin with, we can step that left leg back, plant the toes on that 45 degree that I was talking about in the chair. Turn the hips forward, sink into that front leg. So you might want to open the stance up a bit so that the feet are on train tracks rather than parallel right behind each other. This might help with your stance. It might give you a bit more space to open the hips up towards the front of the room here. Bend into that front leg. Any option for warrior one arms. We can be reaching straight up alongside our ears. If that's too much leverage, if these levers are too long, we can open up into our cactus arms here. We can keep our hands at heart center. Really any option that feels great for you today is really root down through the feet. Find your warrior one strength. Find 3 breaths here, inhaling and exhaling through belly, ribs, and heart. Keep rooting down through both feet. Keep drawing the hips forward. So think about squeezing the inner hips. We have 1 more round of breath. Inner thighs, sorry. All right, let's inhale here. As we exhale now, we're going to turn and make the adjustments for our warrior two. So we all want to turn our hips and open them to this side of the room. Now, this stance, you may need to open up, make it a little wider. You may need to adjust that back foot so that the toes are now facing the front and the hips are facing the front, and we've stacked hips under shoulders. We'll find our nice strong warrior two arms. Think about pulling the belly in and drawing the hips up towards the ribs. Again, full body strength in all of our warrior series. Root down into the mat with your warrior two. Gaze off the front fingers here. Again, any options for arms. Just find energy. Keep turning the hips. Keep rooting down through the mat. We have one more breath. All right, let's flip the front palm over. Start to reach it forward just a little bit and then draw a big arc as we find our reverse warrior. So because we're sort of opening the heart space up towards the ceiling, we're finding a side body stretch, but also a little bit of a front body stretch as well. Back arm reaching down the back leg, energy through the legs still. All right, this is our reverse warrior. All right. On the inhale, use the core strength. Come back through warrior two for a minute as we reposition the palm down. Reach forward, keep the legs nice and strong. Find a side angle. So same thing here, you might want to drop the hips a little more. Knee to elbow. We don't want to just dump into this though and sort of rest here. We want to make sure we're engaging through the core and opening up to find our side angle. Top arm can be up alongside the ear. If a bind is in your practice, you can reach a behind and under and find a bind. If you're looking to work core strength a little more, we can even really root down through the legs and lift that bottom arm, reach it forward. Oh, that takes a lot of strength. I'm opting out of that, but I'm still maintaining core strength and I'm not just dumping into this arm and knee. We're going to stay for another breath. On the inhale, use that core strength. Come back up through our warrior two. Awesome. Let's sweep the arms behind us. Clasp the fingers if we can, the knuckles. So I'm clasping my knuckles like this. Behind me. Inhale here. Open up through the front side body. We're in our warrior two legs. You can stay lifted or exhale. Find your humble warrior. Arms are reaching back or up, shoulder blades squeezing together. Stay for another breath. And then we'll inhale, pull ourselves up with the knuckles, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands down, and we're gonna step up to the top of the mat. So turn the hips out of that warrior two, make your way to the top of the mat, shake it out. Make your way around to seated forward in your chair. Let's find a flow. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward over the thighs, whether you're in the chair or standing. Inhale to come up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press all the way up to standing, use that strength. And then exhale, mountain pose. Okay, let's go to the other side here. I'm just going to turn around. You can stay exactly where you are. If you're in the chair, remember we're going to be facing the other way. So from our mountain pose, let's step the right foot back to our warrior one stance. So we want to make sure the foot's on a 45. Hips are facing forward, knee over ankle in the front. Engage through the belly, draw the hips up towards the ribs. Find your warrior one arms. Any variation might be the same, it might be different. And find 3 strong breaths. You can actually flow with breath with your arms if you like, if that helps you. You want to root down through the feet. Keep kind of squeezing the inner thighs together, rotating those hips towards the front. We have 1 more full cycle of breath. Take a big inhale, reach up. On the exhale, open up. Let's find our warrior 2. So let's make all those adjustments. We're going to turn the hips. Maybe we're going to widen the foot stance and turn the toes forward. Stack the hips and shoulders, reach the arms wide. Stay really present and grounded. We don't want to lean too far forward or lean back in our warrior 2. We want to be very present and grounded. Equal weight distribution through both feet. Gaze off the front fingers. Find 2 more rounds of breath. All right, from here, let's flip that front palm, reach forward a little bit, and then find our reverse warrior. So here we are in this big side front body stretch. It's glorious. Option to straighten the leg in the front if you'd like. Kind of into a reverse triangle leg for a bit more stretch, keeping the knee nice and bent for a bit more strength. Stay for another breath. Use your core strength to come back through warrior 2. Palm flips back down, reaching till you can't reach anymore. Drop the hips, drop the elbow, find your arms on this side. It might be different on this side. Maybe you can bind on this side or you can't bind on this side. Maybe it felt a little easy to stay here and hang out and you want to lift that bottom arm and challenge your core strength. Maybe not. Maybe you want to do exactly like what you did before, and that's perfect. Stay for 2 more breaths. Keep dropping the hips, keep rooting down through the feet, making sure we're not dumping into our elbow. Stay for 1 more. Core strength is going to bring us back up through warrior 2. Exhale, sweep the hands behind, clasp the knuckles, open up through the front side body, stay lifted, or find your humble warrior. Squeezing shoulder blades if you're in humble warrior. Stay for a breath. Legs are working hard. Inhale, start to lift yourself up through the knuckles. Awesome. Inhale. Exhale and step up to the top of the mat. Find your mountain pose. Shake it out. We'll find a flow here. Inhale, just to recalibrate everything. Exhale, forward fold over the thighs, melt down. Inhale, come up halfway, hands on shins, strong core. Exhale. And then inhale all the way back up to standing. Exhale, mountain pose. Whew, that was a tough sequence. Whether you were in the chair or standing, it takes a lot of strength to move through all of those warrior series postures. So now let's move into warrior 3. So a couple of options here. If you're seated and staying seated for warrior 3, what we'll notice in our warrior 3 is we're just going to move through opposite arm and leg. By doing this, you'll already feel the core engaged to keep ourselves seated nice and easy. Keep ourselves seated nice and straight so that we're not sort of falling. So that's where the core work's going to come through up from, and we can flow through opposite arm and leg. Another option with the chair, if you're ready to stand up out of the chair and use it as a prop, again, depending on what type of chair you have, positioning yourself to use the chair as support. off to the side maybe. And then we can use the chair to tip into our warrior three and have it as support, or we don't need to use any props at all. So I'm gonna keep my chair close by, you never know. So for warrior three, before we move into any balances, we just wanna settle the breath, settle the gaze, settle the mind. So think about having equal weight distribution in both feet. Think about engagement through the core, and as we lift and move into our balance, think about every muscle working. Nothing's flopping in the air without effort. That will actually help us maintain the balance a little better. So whether you're holding onto a chair or not, let's start to inhale and lift the left foot off the mat. Hands can be at heart center or on hips, or like I said, if you're holding onto a chair, one hand on the chair, one hand on the hip. Again, whatever feels best for you. We're gonna lift that left foot off the mat. Try to lower the left hip, keep the hips even to the floor here. You might stay here. You might see if we can straighten the leg out in front of us. Or we might even see if we can start to pendulum swing that leg behind us. Again, dropping this left hip. We're not opening up through the hips for warrior three. We want the hips to be facing, the hip bones to be facing down to the mat. And then once we sort of start to tip it as a pendulum here, so body and leg moving in one line of energy, so that means the glutes are working, energy through all the way to the toes and heel. We can play with arms. Again, we might be holding onto our chair. We might reach our arms forward for our warrior three, out to the side like airplane, or down by the sides of our body. Lots of options. Keep thinking about tilting the hips down towards the floor. We don't want them to open, and keep sending energy through everything that's lifted. Shoulders lifting, leg lifting in the back, pressing into the mat. We have 2 more breaths. All right, let's hinge all the way back up. Nice and easy. Lowering that foot down, shake it out. Maybe even empty coat sleeves, so just really let it all go. Balance is different on each side. Every posture is different on each side. So I'm gonna just sort of swing my chair around. Again, depending on what type of chair you have, you might not wanna swing your chair around. You might wanna walk around to the other side. And we'll set ourselves up for warrior three on this side. So as always, let's begin with nice even weight distribution in both feet. Engage through the core, roll the shoulders. Inhale and exhale, good. And then take the hands to hips, heart center, or one on the chair, one anywhere else that feels comfortable. And we'll put the weight into the left foot and lift that right leg. So right away, my hips lifting, let's drop it down. Try and keep the leg parallel to the floor here. Maybe we stay here, maybe we play with our arms here even. This might be a tough option already. Maybe we kick the foot out in front. Again, we might be holding onto our chair. And then maybe we start to pendulum swing that leg back. Maybe it scooches the ground, maybe not. And we play with our warrior three. Oh, I found the wall. I have to move forward. It's gonna be too easy to just use that wall to not balance. Drop the hip bones down towards the floor. Find your arms either out front, holding onto the chair, to the side, or down the sides of our own body. Drop the hips. We have 3 more breaths. Energy through the back leg, lift up through the glutes, engage through the core, squeeze the shoulder blades. Woo! We have 1 more breath wherever you are. Drop those hips. And then let's start to hinge all the way back up. We can release the arms, release the foot, and shake it all out. All right. Those are the warrior postures, all of them. I think all of them. So well done. Warrior postures are meant to build strength, endurance, improve balance. They're just a sort of all-around great series to flow through. So you might even be feeling like you had a bit of a workout. Let's stretch it out a little bit and head down to the mat for Shavasana. So if you're in the chair, we have some options to come into figure 4 here. If you're standing, option to do a standing figure 4, holding onto a chair or not. Or if you're ready to move down to the mat, let's flow. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Let's step back, find ourselves in tabletop. Take a few breaths here if you like, or send the hips right back to child's pose. Take a breath. Whenever we feel ready, we'll make our way to our back so we can pull ourselves back up through tabletop, roll down to the mat any way that feels safe, or find your nice comfortable seat in the chair. I like to use a leg to kind of work as a lever to help me get down. You can use your core strength to help you get there. If you are on the floor, draw both knees in towards your chest, rock side to side. Option in the chair is to stay forward fold in child's pose, or draw one knee in and then the other. So a few options. Trying to move everything down to a little more calming breath state after those warrior series, building up a bit of heat, challenging our balance. All right, if you're on the floor, let's let the left leg find the mat. Keep the knee bent, and then we'll flex the right foot, cross it over left knee, let the right knee fall open. If you're in the chair, I just did the demo, we're gonna find that figure four stretch. Staying here, or maybe folding forward more if you're in the chair for a bit more stretch. If you're looking for more stretch on the mat here, reaching through, grabbing behind left knee, drawing that left knee in towards the body. Maybe even taking that right elbow and pressing right knee away from the body. So just playing with the stretching sensation of the outer right hip. Those glutes and quads and hamstrings, leg muscles, they all worked very hard in those series. Big deep standing series, and there were 4 or 5 postures throughout that, so we want to stretch out all these big muscles. Stay for another breath. All right, start to release the hands, let the foot find the mat, uncross the legs, maybe stepping the feet wide, finding a windshield wiper. If you're in the chair, you can do this as well, or find a couple twists in the chair, just like in the opening sequence. If it feels good to stay over to one side, nice gentle spinal twist, go ahead and stay there for a breath. And then when we're ready, we'll make our way back to center, step the feet in a little bit. We'll lift and flex that left foot this time, cross it over the right knee. Left knee falls open, and then you find your depth of stretch. If you're seated in the chair, sitting up nice and tall, or maybe folding forward over the legs. If you're on the mat here with me, maybe staying where you are, or maybe reaching through, grabbing behind the right knee, drawing that right knee in towards the body as the left knee presses open. Big deep stretch here, our figure four stretch, one of everyone's favorites, I think. You can stay in stillness or rock side to side, again, whatever feels best. Finding that sensation of a nice big stretch down the outer left hip this time. Stay for a few more breaths. Already starting to sort of sink into the mat or the chair. Releasing the hands, letting the foot find the mat, uncrossing the feet, step them wide. We'll windshield wiper again and again. If it feels good to stay twisted to the other side in a very gentle back bend, by all means stay there. Or keep rocking side to side. And then we can come through center. And if there's any final postures your bodies are craving before moving into Shavasana, go ahead and find a few postures now. Some nice ones people tend to like at the end is an inversion, like a gentle inversion, just lifting legs up the wall with or without the wall here for support. maybe coming into a happy baby. If you're in the chair, this is a nice option. Just step the feet as wide as possible on the floor and then fold forward. You can rest your hands on your knees or your thighs for support. And of course, if you're on the mat like this, just feet wide, back pressed into the mat, and then drawing the knees down to the sides of the body. Maybe you're in a waterfall with feet right up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're in a reclined butterfly. Maybe you're in happy baby. Maybe you're doing something totally different. Wherever you are, find 2 more breaths. And then when we're ready, we'll start to make our way to Shavasana. Any form that feels good in your bodies is great. I'm going to offer a bit of a hybrid one here because I have the chair, but I'm on the floor. So if you're someone that's kind of like me and practices in the chair and on the mat, here's a little legs up the wall variation where we can keep our legs on the chair and make our way down to our mat. So it's sort of an inversion with a bit of support. We can settle in like this, but again, any version of Shavasana that feels good for you here, go ahead and find that now. Hands can come down by our sides or resting in our laps. Starting to scan our bodies one last time, just noticing if we're holding on to any areas of tension, and just breathe a little loving kindness that way. See if you can't just let it go. Let the chair and the mat take the work out of the muscles for you. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep and that we need both every day. And we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And you can stay exactly as you are and just let the video play out, or maybe press pause if you want or need to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer. Or you can start to bring some movement into the body by wiggling fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles. And if you're still lying down on the ground, maybe curling into a little ball or stretching long along the mat. Just before rolling over to one side and making your way up to a comfortable seated position. And once we all arrive, we can bring our hands to our laps. We can keep our hands over our heart center. We can rest our hands in prayer, whatever feels best for a final collective breath together. Let's inhale here. Exhale, let it all go. Let's do that again. In fact, let's do it one more time. Thank you so much for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces and for allowing me to guide you through these postures. I hope they brought you some energy that you can carry with you for your day, or energy that you were able to expel so you get ready to wind down for your evening, whatever the case may be. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Until we have a chance to float again, take care. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here tonight. I hope that is exactly what you were looking for, and I can't wait to flow again with you again soon. Take care. Bye.